And it also has these little nubbin humpuses right here, so that goes like this because they are held into these little nubbin humpus holders here. Welcome back to the channel. We are back in the shop. We've been moving a lot of snow, and today we got to tear into the 2005 Brute Force 750i Kawasaki. We got an issue. We fixed that bus connector, and that helped us get a good connection for charging. But then at the end of that, although we were charging, we weren't charging a ton. And now we're not charging at all. So we did a little bit of diagnosing and investigating, and what we've come up with, we believe the rectifier is okay, all the connections are okay. In behind this side of the engine is the stator, so we're kind of down to, you can take a plug off of the stator, excuse me, you can take a plug that's between the stator and the rectifier and test it. And it's got 3 sets of windings in it, and we are not getting a very good test out of any of them. We did that a while back, and we don't really have any video of that testing, and we really just kind of got to get going here because we need to move snow again because it's drifting again. So we're gonna pull, I think maybe you can sneak away with getting some of the plastics off, but we're gonna go ahead because there's a connector for the stator is way up under here somewhere. We're just going to go ahead and pull all this plastic off the nose piece, all the side on this side, so we can get to that. And then we got to drain coolant. I know we got to drain oil, and we can start to pull this cover and this side of the engine case off. Water pump's in there, so we have to hold on. We didn't get our water pump. It didn't, oh no. It's not in the box. It didn't show up. Uh-oh. I forgot about the water pump. Well, that's embarrassing. Even though the water pump, we got a new gasket for the water pump and physical seal, and I think that's about it. Ordered it from the same company at the exact same time as the stator and the case gasket were ordered. Shipped at the same time, but we got one box and it just had the stator and the case gasket in it. So just checked on the flea bay, and it's Sunday, and yeah, it'll probably be here tomorrow. So we're not gonna tear into it. We will come back to this in the morning, well, in the afternoon, because I won't even get mail until, oh, dang it, oh well. Next day alert, we got our water pump parts we needed, our extra parts, and they were for the water pump. We got a gasket, and then we have the physical seal that's in that little box. So we've got that stuff, and then over here, let's put it all together maybe. Over here we've got our new stator, new pickup, and case gasket. So we're good. Man, I beat the heck out of this machine, and it still keeps serving. So we're gonna give it some love today and get it charging again. First thing we got to do, and I started before I moved snow, I started getting the plastics off, but this plastic, this side plastic, and we might go ahead and take the nose piece off just to make things easy to get to. We do have a little bit, you know, we've got that, it's not really a leak, but that dirt sticks to the oil residue on the side of the engine thing going on. We'll get to this layer here of pieces, so this will get cleaned up, and then this spring, when it's time to get everything, you know, all the salt and all the winter stuff washed off these things, we'll hit this with the Zep degreaser and the power washer and get it all cleaned up real nice. But all right, plastics have been deleted. And really, guys and gals, here's the deal. It gives you so much more access. And then here are the wires from your stator and your pickup. They go over to this side. And your plugs are actually way up in here. So it does you a lot of good. A couple of good things came of this. Number one, I know I forgot about this, but you got a little fan shroud or cover here, but you got to take the nose off anyway to put coolant back in it. So this comes loose, a couple of more screws, and then we just kind of pulled it back. We'll be able to get in there with a funnel. But on the left side here, you know, I just mentioned how we're getting kind of damp with oil. Well, I found my leak. It's right here. This is a cam plug for the back cylinder. Probably an O-ring, something in there. So this spring, I think what we're gonna do is the one on the other side isn't leaking. It doesn't appear, no, it's not leaking. But what I'd like to do is, just because I have had this machine for, I've owned this for, golly, you guys, 15 years, and I've never cleaned out the carburetor. I tried adjusting the valves once. It starts hard. So what we're going to do this spring is we're going to tear back into it, and we'll fix that leak and clean everything up. And we're probably also going to go ahead and pull the carb off, take a look at it, make sure it's clean and functioning properly, and we'll take this, I'm going to call it a cam cover, off, and we'll fix that leak, and then we'll adjust valves again and kind of go from there. But for right now, we're in good shape. We can get to where our stator lives, and yeah. Next step, drain oil. We have to drain coolant because we're going through the water pump for this guy. So we're gonna do all that, and then we'll get you caught back up. Let's get you caught up before I get too far ahead of myself, actually. The recoil starter, we pulled that off, just 4 10mm bolts. And then behind that is the cam for the recoil starter. It has these two little nubbins, goes on here with a big 19mm bolt. Now this guy is torqued pretty, you know, substantially. But we got her off with the 1/2" Milwaukee without too much trouble. So that rattled loose. And then down in here now you'll see there's a little square keyway and a little square key. So this guy has to come off, this plate here has to come off to get the case half off. And it should, if we take 2 screwdrivers, there it goes, it should slide off. We should, once we can get some hands on it here, we should be able to, there we go, now she's getting pretty close. Pull it right out. And the keyway just dropped. And I don't, uh-oh. Well, that's not cool. Yeah, so there's a close-up of the keyway on the, I guess you'd call it the, I don't know, whatever this is called, the recoil cam side. And then I thought the key would stay in the deal. Hell no. You guys, oh, it's right here. See down here? Can you see this? I thought maybe it went into the, for my coolant pan, I use one of these styles that's kind of closed up with the hole in the middle, and that would be bad if the keyway went down in there, but it's sitting right here. So let's grab him. We're going to put him in the magnetic tray. There. Okay, that's off. Now, and there is a gasket here. We didn't harm it. We got a little bit of a
It's loose there, but that's gonna live. We'll reuse that gasket. We're not gonna replace this seal at this time. If we have a leak after doing this, we will deal with that in the spring when we deal with this leak. Now we have to take the water pump off. Actually, this is just the water pump cover. Is that loose? Or I could use the right size socket. Would probably be better. I'll use. That's a long one. So obviously some of these water pump bolts also hold the case cover on. And some do not. I think we gotta take this guy out though. Nope, that's a leak there, that's a drain. Okay. I wasn't sure about that guy. Now we know. He's gonna go right back in there. I don't think. There. Oh, there. Yep. That's the water pump cover. We do have this gasket. Now behind this we have the water pump impeller, and it should. Hello. And it should. By the way, none of this stuff is left-hand thread. This is not a bolt. This is cast into the impeller. So once you break that free, it just spins right out. Like so. And then behind here, we have our physical seal for the water pump. We should be able to take some of that out. And with that impeller out of there, now we are going after the case half here. And I don't know how many bolts there are. We're just going to call it a lot. Alright, now get our light and get down low. Ow. Oh, we missed one down underneath here. We missed maybe, looks like just one. Go back. Right here. Okay. I'm just trying to hurt this recoil gasket. Okay. I think we're pretty happy. Now, before we start tippy tapping on this, we're gonna go around the other side and find the plug for the stator and unplug the stator and the pickup from where they go to wherever they go to, and then we can come back and start to manipulate this. So here's what I was talking about. Here's the wires coming out of the hang on here. So here's the wires coming out of the case for the pickup and the stator. They cross over in front of the cylinder head there, and then darn it, light turns off all of it. And then they show up over here on the other side, but they don't just plug in right here. They come all the way up here, and you got one plug here and one plug here. So these two plugs got to come undone, and without the top cover off and the plastic off and stuff, you're gonna play heck, because there is a wire retainer here. These two guys, you can get them off without hurting them if you're really careful, because you want to try and reuse those. But there's one here and there's one here on the intake tubing. So we're going to unplug these two connectors, fish these two wires back across, so when we pull that case cover off, we don't have to manipulate that stator with these wires, you know, strung through the entire chassis. Okay, a little dead blow action maybe. Okay, maybe not. Okay, it's loose at the top here. I'm gonna take another look. It just seems like maybe we've got a bolt hanging on somewhere. I don't see nothing. There, we're coming off now. Okay, come on now. There we go. All right. And we have evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we're doing a water pump seal, the physical seal on the other side of this bearing, is if we don't and the water pump leaks, it can leak internally, and we don't want, because in here obviously is the engine oils. We don't want the coolants mixing with the oil, so we're for sure changing this one. But more importantly, we've got some damage. Good stator, good stator, good stator, good stator, not very good stator, and then bad stator. So we found our problem. We're going to pull this case over to the bench, and we're going to pull the stator out and the pickup. We will clean up the outside of this case, and then we will address the water pump seal. We got to clean up. We do have a gasket here. But yeah, we're in good shape. We found a problem. We know what it is for sure. Okay, on the bench, we have the pickup. Has two little 8mm bolts holding it on. These are metric Allens, and we'll figure out what those are, but we got to take the pickup off first, because a bracket that helps hold it in place also holds the wire harness down for the stator. Go. Okay, out of there. This little guy here goes in and clamps down on this little down here to keep this from, you know, getting up in the rotating stuff. Now let's see. I'm guessing we've got a metric 5 here. Boop. Don't have to use an impact for this. I just am too lazy to go get the 1/4 inch ratchet. And the ratchet in general. So 3 of them bolts. Then this should pick up off of there. We're going to go ahead and pry these connector gaskets out of there. Yeah, you can smell it. There's some burnage smell coming from that sucker now. Alright. And that's your crusty, nasty, you know. So you've got 3 phases in here, and it's hard to see where each phase starts. We might have had one that was trying for a while, but I'm guessing that, you know, one phase completely burnt up. Probably this was part of the other phase, and we might have had something good going on over here at one point, and then it gave up. So that's out. Now we got to go do some cleaning, and then we'll throw stuff back in. Okay, we are cleaned up. We have to get this water pump seal out. Here's what we're dealing with. This would be this assembly in here, and I'm glad we're changing this because ours kind of separated apart here. But anyway, this goes down in there. So, and on the back side we've got a little bearing that pretty much swims in oil, so that's, and I just dropped my freaking seal. Okay, come on now. This bearing's okay to continue to live, but we got to get that seal out. So it just so happens this area here is almost exactly 1.5 inches up from the flat part of this case. So we're going to put a 2x4 under there. We should be able to reach behind this bearing and tap on the inner race of this seal. I don't want to tap too hard because we are talking aluminum. See if we're making any progress. We are not. Gasket surface is going to be this part. There's nothing really sealing here, but we still don't want to beat that up. But we're going to come in with a chisel and try to collapse that lip on that seal just a little bit. And that should make it a little easier to get out of there. Now let's go back over. This process should work. There it went. Got it. Didn't hurt anything. We got some shmoo in there though. Look at all that shmoo. We're gonna clean that out. Good thing we got that seal out. Well, dang it. We hit a snag behind the water pump seal that I was not aware. There is another lip seal, oil seal behind this bearing for the water pump shaft, or in between the bearing and the water pump seal. And we were leaning on that pretty hard to beat out the water pump physical seal. So we're not even going to try and trust that to go back together. So we've popped it out, and we don't have one, and it was probably the right thing I should have done in the first place. We're going to go ahead and pop out this case seal too and replace both of those. So we are in a holding pattern. I'm going to go ahead, I'm working on tippy tapping this small bearing out of here. I want to get it completely cleaned up. We're going to order these 2 seals and we'll continue this project as soon as they get here. Appreciate you watching, liking, sharing our stuff. We'll get back at it as soon as we get parts. A couple next days later, alert, we've got our seals. I kind of plopped them in here and I can't get that one to come out, but we got the little guy here. That's the one. We knew this guy was here, but we didn't look close enough to see this little guy behind the water pump seal that keeps the water from going into the engine. There's an oil seal that keeps the oil from going into the water pump. Anyway, we've got it. We've got the case seal here and this case seal here. We are not replacing the bearing. This one's beautiful, but we're gonna knock these in. And then what we did, I'll set you down here. For this one, it's got a sealant on it, which isn't abnormal, but look how thin this tin is that forms the cup of the seal. So for this water seal, we're going to go over to the press, and I found this is a 1-inch socket. It just really snugly fits over that. Snugly, is that even a word? Snuggly? No, that's different. Anyway, we're going to go over to the press. We're not going to tippy tap on this because I am worried that we'll be able to deform this lip real easily. I mean, that's how we got the old one out, was we tippy tapped this way on the edge of that, and it caved in pretty quickly. So that's how we're going to do that one. We'll get to that point, but right now we're going to do these the old-fashioned way and find a socket that fits and tippy tap these in. Well, for the small one, we dug around and we ended up with 14 millimeters. There's no inner lip to this one, or seat, I guess. No ridge down on the bottom. So we just gonna have to be careful and get it flush. Once you hear metal on metal, that means you're flush. And then on the back side of that, I think the bearing, that little bearing, is technically what kind of locates that seal. And that guy we can good there. Now we need a mucho bigger socket or driver. We'll use a seal driver, and I got a seal driver for crying out loud. Flush. Check out this live action shot you guys are gonna get. I just thought of this. We got some pretty cool upgrades planned for this press, by the way, to make it much more efficient. It's just a matter of getting there. It's not going to take much to get this in. In fact, I probably don't even need the arm, but it's all about getting her in there nice and flush without damaging that tin lip. There we go. Piece of gravy. Nice. That's exactly what we're after. All right, now we're flipped back over and we can mount our new stator. That should be better. just zigzag these ends one. Still, machine screws into Number 2. The interference fit between the stator and the case is you know, tight. So we want to pull this down evenly, and then we're just going to snug these up by hand. And probably there's a torque spec, I would imagine, and I would imagine it's probably in the area of minor wrist pain and 1 Jack Daniels shot to cure minor elbow pain. We'll just go until we're happy. And we're happy right there. Our stator, on your stator you have this little pickup magnet. It's magnetized, and it's gonna go, and it also has these little nubbin humpuses right here, so that goes like this because they are held into these little nubbin humpus holders here. Just like that. Don't forget, like I just almost did, we do have to capture our wires. Our wires down. This guy, remember that guy? He's kind of important. Then a couple 8mm machine screws here. Snug that down. Find our other one. Like that, like so. And life is pretty happy. This will squish in, I think, with the gasket. All right, that is our side cover and stator assembly ready to go back together. Before we do, we're going to put a little bit of red grease on this bigger seal. We did the small one already. We're going to do this just because we can. Okay, gasket is in place. Hopefully it stays in place. We are going to go. We should be able to just slide this straight on. We might have a little bit of, here, let me pull this guy out. We might have just a little bit of magnetism that tries to affect how straight it goes on, but it shouldn't be too bad. Oh, we gotta turn more. There we go. Something like this. Something like that. Okay, something like that. Come on. Something like that. There it goes. There. There's that magnetism we were just saying. There's a bearing, and I'm sure it fits snug. There. Is our gasket where our gasket needs to be? I think so. Yeah, I think we're in good shape. We're gonna go ahead and put some bolts in here. back over on the bench because the other half of this water pump seal lives in the back side of the impeller. And not sure. I'm thinking really small pick is what I'm thinking. So the dilemma here is you don't want to pry against this center. This is just one cast aluminum piece here. I don't want to booger things up. But we gotta get this out of here. And my pick is just not quite tiny enough. Let's see it on the new one. Oh yeah, see? On the new one, the ceramic will pop right out of there. Let's just do that. Maybe. Let's just... It should pop out of there. We'll get it. I just don't want to break nothing. Try a different pick. Nope. Try this guy. Yeah, oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go. We got her popped out finally. There. And then the rubber part should be simple. It can collapse and just pop right out of there. There. Yeah. All right. And I mean, you just got to find the right tool that's small enough to get in behind that ceramic piece. Now we got to clean all this out. And we'll take this guy and just boop him down in there. Boop. Huh, life is good. Alright, let's go put this on. Alright, not a left-hand thread, it's just a thread. What we're probably going to do is get it on here. All the way. We're just going to kind of tighten that to there. New gasket, it's kind of that crushed, kind of like an exhaust manifold gasket almost. It's like that soft metal, almost leadish type material. This goes like that. We'll have to hold on to that. There's no thread sealant on these bolts, so we're not going to do that. Now we'll get our 8 out on the 1/4-inch ratchet. And we're going to go around and kind of skip and crisscross here. There's one down, yeah, right there. And we're going to start tightening up the case and the water pump cover and everything. Okay, once you have moderate wrist pain for everyone, they're torqued. Okay, now we have our little end plate for the crank here, and don't forget you've got that little keyway. We kept him in the magnet bowl. And hopefully he'll kind of sit there while we... Oh no, that's not going to happen. Time out. I don't want to push him into there. Magnet though. Alright, maybe we can... You suppose we can slide this in after it's on? Let's see, why not? Let's just do this. Put you on there. Well, maybe. Let's put you on there. There we go. New seal. There's the tippy tap. There we go, tippy tap. And then can we, let's see, can we put our key in after? Will it allow us to do that? I mean, it should, maybe. Maybe not. We're a little off. Yes, it is happy. Slides right in. So you don't have to worry about setting that key in the groove and then putting the pulley and putting the plate on. Just get it lined up and it'll be happy. Now our crank bolt will go on, and you got the two nubbins here. So the recoil pulley has to get on those two nubbins. And again, no thread sealant. We've got a recoil gasket coming. We're gonna run it without though, for just to make sure everything's working when we get this all together here. And then that's easy to pop off even with the plastics on. Not sure how I'm gonna torque that. Well, we're gonna go old school. What we can do is, on these bad rides, we take the front spark plug out because that's the one we can get to the easiest. And just so happens that cylinder, I can look down in there, that cylinder's down a ways. So I won't bore you with the details. You should, if you know what we're doing here. We're gonna fill this cylinder up with string, and then we're gonna push the piston against the string as we tighten this bolt. This needs to be torqued to 94 foot-pounds. That's almost like lug nut torque. We're gonna go ahead and create a cushion in here for the piston to push against, and it'll stop prior to top dead center, and then we'll get our torque on that bolt. Okay, I think I've got about 3 feet of rope in the cylinder. So we're gonna go ahead and get our 19 millimeter on here. And then we're coming up against that rope. There's 94. Take our other ratchet sheet, go back the other way, and then here is how much rope we had to use. We're going to pull here and pull all this out. Oh, we had way more than 3 feet in there. Oh my Lord. From there all the way to here, probably 7 feet of rope in there. But the thing is, we got her torqued, we did it safely, we didn't rattle it with an impact. Life is good. Now we're going to route these wires, plug them in. We got a coolant hose that goes here. We got to start filling it with fluids then, coolant and oil, and we'll be pretty soon we'll be able to just fire this up and see what she's doing. Okay, we've got coolant, we've got oil. Even though there's a mess under the four-wheeler, I don't think there's any leaks. It's just me not paying attention when I'm filling the coolant. Keys on, a little bit of choke. We should fire right up.
Just like that, the 2005 Brute Force 750i is ready to go back to work and party too a little bit. Well, we're lucky that got us back on track with the Brute Force, and we got it back together before it snowed again. So we're ready to go. We've got a good battery. We've got a good stator. Charging system is on point. Plow is ready to go. We did notice one loose bolt on the other side. I'm going to tighten real quick. Got to clean up our mess, put this stuff away, and that's one project checked off. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, all that other good stuff. We'll catch you on the next video.